you ever seen a video or written ad about a digital asset-based lending platform promoting interest yields ranging from 4 to 18% on various digital assets? But you're reluctant to tip your toes in because it sounds too good to be true, or maybe you or someone you know was a victim of an HYIP scam like BitConnect.
No! Be connect!
Your reluctance, hesitation, and apprehension is entirely justified. In this series, I'll focus on 5 platforms and their interest-yielding products and services. By watching this video, you'll get a better understanding of their business model and security practices. With this information, my hope is to enable all investors to make sound wealth deployment decisions. I don't want the lack of information to paralyze investors because in my view, there is ample opportunity for everyone to make money in this space. Before we proceed, I wanted to ask everyone to please help me grow my channel if you feel like I've provided some value. Like, subscribe, and please comment in the comment section below. And as part of my normal practice, I'll provide you guys with a timestamp in the description below so you can jump around to the parts of the video you find most relevant. With that, let's go ahead and dive into this video. So we'll go ahead and kick off this series with Crypto.com. If you wanted to learn more about Crypto.com, I've done numerous videos in the past, and for your convenience, I've gone ahead and organized all my videos in a playlist for you guys. If you're interested in watching and learning more about Crypto.com, go ahead and click on the upper right hand corner of your screen. And moving forward, remember all the relevant links are going to be included in the description below. The focus of this presentation is primarily on security and the platform's overall financial viability. That's because as investors, we want to make sure our assets are held safely and securely. And secondly, we want to make sure the business is generating some profit to justify the yield, and it's just not another Ponzi scheme where the early investors make all the money and the lagging investors end up holding the bags. One thing the platform makes clear is that they're very committed to security. In fact, in an interview, the CEO mentioned that 10% of their workforce is entirely dedicated to security and making sure the client's funds are kept safe and secure.
So a little over 200 people right now in the company, and around 10% of our entire team is dedicated to security.
The team is so security focused that they've dedicated an entire web page on their website detailing all the security features and steps they've taken to assure that all the appropriate measures have been taken. Here you can read their security philosophy. I'm not going to take the time to read it. You can go ahead and freeze the video, or I'll include a link in the description below. In terms of actual digital asset management, all the funds that you guys put on the platform are kept on cold storage. And their custody partner, the person that actually handles all the cryptos, is Ledger. They provide Crypto.com with an institutional grade custody solution through the Ledger Vault. Much like BitGo, Ledger also offers insurance on up to $100 million to safeguard against theft and direct loss. But the CEO himself has said that this is sort of a marketing gimmick than anything else.
We don't really market that as something that is like, a government type of insurance like FDIC. Yeah. So, like when you have funds, for example, in our US dollar wallet in the US, right? That's insured up to $250,000 with FDIC and held in a segregated customer account.
Nice.
And that's very easy for people to understand. Rules are clear. In terms of crypto custody, the insurance solutions that we see right now, and the one that we involve, just is a protection at the vendor level against a very specific set of circumstances, like employee fraud and this type of stuff.
Yep.
So we don't market this because we don't feel like this actually gives the user the benefit that they would expect. Like, if you lose $100 million on a platform that's protected with this kind of insurance, you will not be able to get back your $100 million.
I mean, it's not something that's backed by the government, and it's not something that Crypto.com markets to its clients, because the protection only applies to specific cases. This necessarily doesn't mean that if they lose $100 million, that $100 million will be covered by the insurance. But the cool thing about the platform is that our funds are held in a cold storage. Their own funds are kept in the hot wallet. All the day-to-day operations, they're done with Crypto.com's own corporate funds and not client funds. Now, when it comes to cash balances, all the USD that you hold on the account is backed by FDIC insurance. They essentially aggregate all the accounts, and each account will be covered by the FDIC insurance up to $250,000. To my knowledge, this doesn't cover the stablecoin balances, but if that's something you're interested in knowing, make sure you mention it in the comment section below, and I'll go ahead and make an inquiry with the team. Crypto.com also has a high priority when it comes to their infrastructure security, so basically the transmission of information across their platform. They use Amazon Web Services, so a lot of the security is native to the service provided by Amazon, and that includes firewall capabilities. They have this transport layer security, which is basically a dual layered security protocol that does things like ensure the information being transferred from the server to the applications doesn't get compromised in any way. They automatically encrypt all the traffic, and there's plans in place to make sure there's a continuity of service in case there's, let's say, an outage or a attack. And if you're interested in doing a deep dive on these specific security features, you can go ahead and click the link here and learn more about the infrastructure security provided by Amazon Web Services. They also have their own internal controls in place, which makes certain that everybody's KYC AML compliant. In terms of withdrawal controls, they make sure to monitor for any suspicious activity, and their system is actually set up to alert them if there's a suspicious transaction. And certain transactions that meet a threshold, they're stopped altogether and they require a manual approval. So this basically eliminates the chance of someone just hacking your account, withdrawing all your funds at one time. And lastly, fund access controls. I think that's really important because we've heard stories about exchange owners dying with the private keys. And to be honest, when you have one person managing the private keys, it actually puts everybody's assets at a very high risk. Given that they custody all the assets with LedgerX, the chances of this happening with Crypto.com is greatly diminished. In terms of their code written by their software development team, what they're basically stating here is that their employees and their internal team has done a good job of checking the quality and the logic of the code. And also they've gotten external audits from third parties to make sure that there's no bugs or attack vectors that hackers can take advantage of. And like most other platforms, they have two-factor authentication. And again, they have withdrawal protection, which we briefly touched on earlier. And their customer support is available 24/7, which is great because if you have any concerns or questions, you can always get in touch with the live member of the team. Now let's take a look at the certifications that they got. The CEO often touts they're the first cryptocurrency company in the world to have received the ISO certification. I dug a little bit into this and I found out that there's a clause in the mandatory requirements that enables a company that's being audited to basically select the scope of the audit itself. And based on this response I got back from Reddit, it looks like their company chose the broadest scope, which doesn't necessarily mean that they're fail-proof, but they've basically set the highest standards for themselves. In fact, I'm sure this third party also gave the team recommendations to improve their overall security. Next, we can see that they're PCI certified, level 1, which is the highest level certification. And unlike levels 2, 3, and 4, which just require a self-assessment questionnaire and a quarterly scan by an approved scanning vendor, level 1 requires all of that, plus yearly assessments of compliance by a qualified security assessor. And by the way, folks, this is not something that's easily come by. It's a very long and arduous process. It's good to have because it significantly reduces the chances of a data breach. And specifically, we're talking here about credit card data not being compromised. Lastly, Cryptocurrency Security Standard has done an audit on the platform. There's actually 3 levels to this security standard. Presumably, they have level 1 given that they're so security conscious. You can see here from this table what kind of scope the audit has. Lastly, they have penetration testing and a bug bounty. And if you go here to HackerOne, you can see that there is an active bug bounty. In fact, they've paid out $7,400 to people who found bugs in the code. This again is to make sure the code that's written itself doesn't have any security vulnerabilities. And you can see that it's very clear the team has taken all the appropriate actions to make sure that our funds, the client funds, aren't exposed to any sort of security risk. Or I should rather say that the security risk is significantly mitigated by their practices. And I think it's good that the team or the project articulated all their security practices. Because huge stigma around cryptocurrencies, and because the general public oftentimes hears about these hacks of exchanges. So for that reason, I think many people are reluctant to put their funds on exchanges and platforms like this, specifically the general public that hasn't adopted the technology to date. And to draw that crowd in, to get them to dip their toes in, I think they need to make this a point of marketing, because unless you provide these people with some insurance, they're going to be very reluctant to put their funds, their hard-earned money, on your platform. Now, in terms of the yield provided by the platform, we need to understand their business model a little bit more, and it's actually really simple. I sent an email to the team to inquire about how they're able to sustain their yields, and this is a reply that I got back. The EARN program is structured to provide capital necessary to fund the growth of the credit product. EARN is a cost center for the platform, and credit is a profit center. The platform profitability comes from the difference between the two. There are other products in development that will go further to improve platform profitability and capital efficiency. So their model is similar to the other platforms. What they do is they get digital assets from their clients who are keeping the assets on the platform for various reasons. I would think largely they were keeping the assets on the platform because they wanted to earn interest on them. They then take these digital assets, for example, the stable coins, and they lend them out to clients looking to get collateralized loans. But it's different in the sense that these guys don't lend these digital assets to anybody outside their platform. People like Celsius, Blockfi, they'll take your digital assets and they'll give it to various parties, whether that's institutions or exchanges, which exposes, your digital assets to third-party risk. With Crypto.com, none of your assets are exposed to third-party risk.
So we do not lend outside of our platform today.
And anything loaned out is over-collateralized. So there's almost zero risk of a default. And even if there is a default, the lender will be made whole since the loans are over-collateralized. In this email, when he talks about improving the profitability and the capital efficiency, what I think he was alluding to is the exchange that's coming out. They're probably going to enable margin trading in the future. That will allow the platform to lend out digital assets to traders on their own platform and earn a yield on those digital assets.
How we're going to scale these businesses as we launch the exchange, you will see in first half of next year margin trading and lending. So we will be able to offer the same service to institutional traders who onboard on our platform.
Yep.
But again, the principle is the same. We don't have any counterparty risk. We don't lend it out on other exchanges. We don't lend it out to anybody who trades outside of our platform.
Right.
And on top of all that, they can take additional measures to maintain their sustainability. One, for example, no more than $1 million worth of your digital assets can be lent out on the platform per user. Additionally, they can reduce the rates, which they've done in the past. And lastly, they can actually increase the requirement for you to access some of the higher rates. For example, when I first started, you needed 50 MCO tokens staked to get the higher yields. Then that went to 500. It basically subsidizes the interest rate for people staking 500 MCO tokens. So people who don't have 500 MCO tokens staked, they'll get the lower rate, and the people who have them staked will get the higher rates. To conclude, I wanted to be clear, this presentation was unsolicited and unpaid for. The purpose of this video was to be informative and not to entice anybody. I genuinely want to help my subscribers make more informed decisions about their investments. And if you're thinking about putting your hard-earned money on Crypto.com, make sure you watch my other videos to broaden your understanding first. If you enjoyed this video or found value in my insights, subscribe to my channel, like the video, and please comment below. With that, this is CryptoOneStop signing up. I'll talk to you folks next time. Bye.